Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And guess what, kiddies? You are now tuned in to PVD Horror Podcast. Pleasant screams.
Hey, what's going on? You're now tuned in to the PVD Horror Podcast. I'm Brandon, and today I'm joined by filmmakers Mark Wilson and Tommy Rose to talk about their new film, The Calling Witch, which is now available on VOD. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. I'm a big fan of independent horror, and I just need to know, what sparked your guys' interest to become filmmakers?
Yeah, good question. I think it goes back to when I saw Jurassic Park in the theater. I knew that was the moment I wanted to be a part of the magic and create stuff. So I think literally since I was 8 or 9 when I saw that. So yeah. How about you, Tommy?
I probably the same age, probably about probably around 9 years old, watching. I remember watching Singing in the Rain at school and being like, what is this? And being kind of floored by it. And that kind of started the spark and the obsession. And then it was like watching movies that I shouldn't have been watching, at way too young of an age. I remember the one that really was like, okay, this is the moment. I don't want to do anything else in my life, was watching Goodfellas at probably 13 years old. And just being like, it was the first time I recognized a director was involved in the making of this. Who is the director? What are they doing? And I can see that there's something different being put together here. This is not just your typical movie. So I don't know. No. That's the movie that was the beginning for me.
Yeah, that's a cool story. Because Goodfellas is definitely one of my favorite films of all times too. That's in my Letterboxd top 4. So
yes.
So Mark, your project Wade in the Water was praised by no other than Stephen King. What was that reaction like for you, with that positive feedback from him?
Yeah, I was tripping out. It came out of nowhere too. We didn't film or anything. He came across it on his own and then tweeted about it. And we were just ecstatic. We didn't, you make a little small indie film like that, you just hope for the best. And it just, after that, it got a lot more attention. And our writer, Chris Retz, just started crying because that's his, he's, as a writer, that's his idol.
Yep.
But our whole team was ecstatic, and yeah, I think it really helped move the needle, and people kind of took us a little more serious about making films, which was cool.
It's always cool to see him, praise projects and stuff. It keeps people going. When you get that motivation and so I'm happy that it kicked off and for you guys to create another film like The Calling Witch. So
yeah.
But what horror films motivated you guys to explore this genre?
So definitely. Me and Tommy talked early on, but for me, it was definitely The Shining, Strangers, the original Halloween. Those were my all-time favorites, and a little bit of Scream in there. But yeah, we kind of pulled from those films as references as we were prepping for this film. I really wanted to just highlight it or make sure we made the film very grounded and real. That was my biggest thing I wanted for this film, because I think that's just truly the scariest kind of film this could really happen to you.
What about you, Tommy?
The ones that Mark and I really connect with are the John Carpenter ones. Yeah, Halloween is my favorite. Probably my favorite horror film next to maybe Exorcist. So but Exorcist is a very different thing. So we wanted something. We love how Halloween feels just this could actually happen. I don't know. There's just something about the way Carpenter and Dean Cundey, his DP, just made something feel insanely grounded, and it made it creepier. It made it like you you truly felt like this is happening, and there was just something in the way that like he just let things go to complete blackness and the minimalist lighting. Everything about it was just like it's creepier than how we find a lot of horror films are, and just because it just didn't feel fantastical to a point of like unbelievability. Another like visual reference that we talked about early on was Don't Look Now, which
Okay.
is a Nick Rogue movie. That I just love the look of that movie. I love the saturation of the reds. This like just something about and just something kind of very. I mean, it had that was like 1970s, but we were
Mhm.
we were doing a period piece, so I wanted something that had texture like that and had the colors like that kind of had that feeling of the film stocks of the time. So we looked at that for visual references too, but definitely Shining too. We love the use that Kubrick uses of like these long creeping zooms. So I knew
Yeah.
we wanted to do like these really slow zoom ins in certain instances, and so we found cases throughout the movie where we could like pepper those in, and I think those are always helpful to give you like an ominous tone. It's just like this slow dreadful zoom in or zoom pull back. But yeah, those were for sure the same ones. Yeah, those are the ones Mark and I talked about a lot.
Okay, cool. Now, Mark, can you give the listeners a synopsis of the film?
Sure. Let's see. There's so many different ones I could pitch. But basically, it's just about this young boy and young girl in her 20s whose mother writes a book called The Calling Witch, which is a little darker book to be reading to your kids. But it's kind of like the scary stories of our time in the 80s and 90s. But anyways, yeah, she basically writes a book about this witch that calls kids into the woods and she eats them. And one night, the brother and sister think they see the calling witch outside their home. So it's kind of becomes a fun home invasion thriller, but obviously a lot more layers and stuff to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely I love the 80s vibes, you know what I mean, to it, like a lot of like you just said, some things that you guys sprinkled into there, to the film. It definitely picks up. And so like I had a great time watching it. So the film was released on January 20th. How has all the feedback been on this project so far for you guys?
I think so far very, very good. Yeah, like people are really. We've done a few other, podcasts and meetings and stuff, and people have just really dug into things that sometimes we as filmmakers don't even catch. They're like, "Oh, did you do this on purpose?" Or
Yeah.
they're really loving these characters, and that's I think just a compliment to what we created, and it's cool. It's great to finally get it out there.
Yeah. It's cool because I think right now we're in the genre of horror and everything and supernaturals where everybody just wants so like kills, 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 and then you guys really focused on the story and this. The storyline was like really great. There's a lot of twists and turns, and like how was that for you guys to develop all that and put it on the screen from the script?
Yeah, that was definitely the most challenging part. One of the most challenging parts for me. It's how much information do you reveal and at what time? Like, are you giving clues? So just finding that balance. Working with Chris Retz, the writer. I think just really fleshing out that script before we said we were good to go. I think that was how pretty much, yeah, we navigated that.
And so, like I said, like also with like independent horror and everything like that, like sometimes, a lot of, companies and crews, you tend to use the same people that you worked with before. How has that all been for you, moving along as a filmmaker?
Yeah, it's essential. I love, I worked with Tommy. Tommy shot William well. I worked with Tommy over 15 years now, and then as we've been making films, we've just kind of you gather your tribe, people who get your vision and just are fun to work with. And I think we have such a fun team now, and I think it's essential to have fun and B, something special. So I think it's very important to find your people.
Now, how was it for you both to find your balance of styles to flow with Chris's script as the director and the DP?
I just kind of talk with Chris and Tommy, like just what I love about horror films and what I don't love about horror films today, and that's your starting mark. And then I think Tommy goes running with, all the stuff he's seen in his life and he brings that to the table. And then Chris, I love Chris. He's also the producer on the film, and just having him on set with me, and so I could bounce ideas off him, and he could bounce ideas off me, and but just that collaboration of all working together, and like there's no bad ideas.
Yeah.
I don't ever like to be, put my blinds on, and but I love just working with everybody. But yeah, I mean, immediately I was like, Tommy, let's use, natural lighting. Let's use like Halloween and that porch light where you just see the silhouette of Michael Myers. Like, let's use
Hmm.
what we have. Because my biggest thing was like, let's make it as real and not so polished and overlit like most films are today.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I think, Tommy, where we started. I don't know if you have anything you could add to that.
Yeah, I think Chris is a very trustworthy writer. You know, Chris is not he's precious about his words, but he's also like he's not precious about he trusts Mark like
Hmm.
wholeheartedly. He's always been like, I mean, they've been working together longer than I've known Mark. Chris and Mark have known each other, and they go even further back. And I think they connected early on because I think Chris respects Mark's talent as just understanding of how to bring his scripts to life. Chris always compliments us after the project. I mean, he's always just like very complimentary in terms of like, you guys always take what I write and make it something what I would have never expected in terms of just like you take it and run with it. And so that's always comforting knowing that he's impressed with what we're doing with his words. Chris's scripts are easy to shoot because they're like his words just like are very they don't feel like bullshit, you know. They're just
Yeah.
like they feel very much like true to life, and that's like the best thing you can possibly work on as a project, that you're just like, oh, how the hell am I going to shoot this that doesn't seem cornball. Chris's scripts aren't cornball, you
Mhm.
know. They're like insanely real and like feels lived in, and they yeah that's the best compliment I can give them is their scripts are not bullshit. They're really just like they feel like I've never once been in a situation where we're like on a scene where we're just like I don't know how to shoot this. I don't know how to make this feel true to life. It's like it doesn't happen with his scripts. So
Yeah.
I think his scripts make it easy for sure, I would say, you know.
Definitely, because the film explores, the connection between fiction and reality and family trauma. How is that for you guys to like, dive into a project like this, to put it on the screen?
Exciting.
Yeah.
Some have asked this question. Like our previous film, Weight in the Water, it's so dark, and
Mm,
so this, in some terms, is much lighter than our last film in some ways. So
Yeah.
I think it kind of prepped us to make The Calling Witch, in my opinion.
I just love the genre mix up of it. I mean, I don't want to like spoil anything here. I don't know if this is like we're spoiler talk now, but I just think one thing I loved about it was that it's not just 100% horror. It's also family drama. It's also
mm,
thriller aspects. There is a book in the movie that's named The Calling Witch. So there's a fictional story that's telling the tale of the Calling Witch, and so there's aspects of like is what's happening in this book actually coming to life. And so and then it turns into like a full-blown family drama in the end. So I think that mixture of genres, uh just seeing how they slowly flow into each other, I think was just really fun to come up with. Like, how do we tell this as honestly as possible?
yeah, you brought up the storybook. When you guys first read the script, and was the storybook in there from the beginning? And if so, what was it like when you guys finally got your hands on the storybook itself and were able to flip through the pages to, use as a prop?
It was amazing.
That was an exciting moment. And I was reading the script. I'm like, this artwork has to, or this book has to work, or else
Yeah.
cheese ball and stuff. And I ran across an amazing artist in Colorado, and he knocked that all those illustrations out within like a month. His name's Richard Ingersoll. Super talented dude. But yeah, once our production or the production department, or sorry, art department, brought it to set, and we actually got a hold of it. I'm like, oh man! In the meantime, we're like, we got to shoot the hell out of this thing.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
there were like two things I feel like that reading the script, you're like, okay, this artwork, this book has to sell legitimately like a real like a real children's illustrated book, and the location has to sell, like, work.
Yeah.
So those two things were like, okay, if those things don't work, the movie, I just they don't think it's going to land on its feet. And when I saw Mark started slowly sending me the artist's work, like, one at a time, and I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, this is amazing. This is perfect. Like, it could not be better. He's so talented. So yeah, once the artwork was mixed, once our art department built that book and made the cover with like the little gold crest, everything about it was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is the best prop. So just props like that make filmmaking so much fun. You're just like, yeah, now we can just run with this and have the best time shooting it.
Now, do you have any plans on releasing the book itself?
Yeah, funny enough you asked that. Yeah, I think we're currently in talks to do like a limited release and how it goes. But yeah, a lot of fans and people have been asking, so I'm like, something worth exploring, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would sell well, so.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Now, were there any scenes that had to change from the script in the final cut?
Question. Sure.
Not really. Like, it's funny. Like, I think 95% of what we shot is what you see. Like,
yeah.
There was only one scene we cut. It was a flashback, and I hate flashbacks. So
yes,
it
was ironically the first shot of the movie. Remember, Mark? That was
the first. I knew we were going to use it, so it helped to get the gears rolling for the cast and crew. But everything made it. There was nothing. Nothing crazy cuts or anything. Yeah.
Now, for the witch in the story, was she influenced by like a genuine like folklore or urban legend?
Oh, that's a good question. That'd be more of a Chris question, maybe. Wow.
We definitely wanted her to. I mean, we wanted to make sure she felt, almost like a phantom at times, like witch. Like, we wanted her to. We didn't want the audience to be completely like call it, early on. We wanted it to feel like truly like horrific, like phantom figure that, So it's like it was definitely not so much misleading, but it was like finding the balance of like making her look as creepy as possible, but also believable as possible. As far as like this could just be like, I think also I love the idea of like it could have been maybe it's the mother, it's her, maybe it's her ghost, or the mother that, commits suicide at the beginning of the movie. So that's always fun to see people, listen to people talking about the film afterward and saying like, oh, that's what I was thinking it was. So kind of fun to have this, flip. I mean, that's just one of the brilliances of the script, but I just think that was always fun to, and then the way Mark cast it, finding the right people for, you could believe that could have been the mother, but you could also definitely believe that it's our lead Danica's mother. So yeah, there's a lot of trickery with, I'd say, casting and how she was dressed. Makeup department and wardrobe, they did an amazing job dressing her too. She looked so, just that dress and the way it was like kind of slowly blended into like gray. So that was kind of fun when we were shooting it, was almost making it feel like you don't see her feet. Like she's just like this, like her dress just like blends into the dirt around her. That was kind of a fun thing to always explore too.
Definitely. And so I loved all the twists in the story. Without giving anything away, how did you guys feel about all that when you first read the script?
It was exciting for me. It's, because you want to, so many people have their takes in the horror genre. I'm like, how can we make this different? How can we really make something special? But yeah, it was super exciting, and I didn't see it coming. So that's super. And that's the hardest thing as a film or in general as a director is, how can we make a twist that that's, again, people have seen so many times. So that was a challenge, but I think we pulled it off. You tell us.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Awesome.
Like films that feature like witches and supernatural elements often come with stories like, when we have people on, like weird things happening on set. Did that happen with you guys or no?
Nothing happened with, not that I recall. We just had other just typical production things happen.
Yeah,
like
that's funny.
yeah, nothing creepy though happened that I know of.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there was anything that was creepy that yeah. No haunted set, thank God. The house we shot at felt very haunted. I'll say that. That place
Okay.
was. I would not want to have stayed there an extended period of time. It was definitely man. That place was unique, creepy, just like filled with nooks and it was amazing. I mean, the place was absolutely a great find. But yeah, I think nothing other than just production hiccups.
Okay.
Nothing too overly creepy.
Now, where did you guys film?
We filmed in Simi Valley, California.
Okay.
Yeah. There's houses all around that house, but we just picked our angles and made sure we didn't show them, so it felt like they were really secluded.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a house up in the hills of Simi, so it had a view of Simi, which is a pretty large suburban city in just near LA. And so yeah, to make it look like a cabin in the woods in Georgia was it's all about picking your angles and finding thankfully the house had enough land surrounding it that it wasn't too hard of a task. But yeah, there was definitely times where we had to like do some trickery. But yeah, it was a great place. And then we also shot. So we shot what, Mark, 14 days at that house, and then 4 more days in an exterior wooded area down Topanga Canyon, which was a really great find as well. This spot, and so that was for like a lot of the sequences that outside of the house, like in the woods area. So those were kind of our primary locations.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, were there some challenges you guys faced on set, or like everything goes smooth?
Oh yeah. Now, I'll kind of highlight a few of them, but like, yeah, Natalie, who played our the witch, had appendicitis a week into filming. So funny enough, there's 3 different people that play the witch throughout the film.
Oh, all right.
One was so we had a stunt double come in. Her name was Jack, and then a little. I don't think I've said this yet, but also our editor. They went and shot that they. She lived in New York, and they went and shot some exterior stuff for us. A few shots where you see like the witch coming out behind a tree and stuff. And that's actually our editor.
Okay.
So did our stand-in for that. So little tricks like that. But yeah, that was stressful because you could have a stunt double come in and it looks nothing like your witch. And I was terrified, but she showed up, and our amazing makeup artist Ali just like dialed her in, just looked exactly like her. And luckily, schedule wise, like a lot of stuff we had to film with her was like her in the shadows, or you just don't really see much of her. So that worked in our favor, or else I thought we were done for.
Yeah, that was stressful.
Yeah. But yeah, just typical stuff like the orange truck stopped working. Old Warren's truck, like after the second or third shot we got of it, it just stopped working. So we did some old school photography where we just shake the truck, that kind of stuff. And then anything else, Tommy? Yeah, it's funny because it's almost been a year and a half, so I'm trying to remember everything.
The crank, the
Foley scene.
Foley scene.
Yeah, it would get stuck. It's a long a trek for that note, so it would get stuck sometimes, and our art department would have to figure out a system to make it flow seamlessly, and they did. But like the first day is acting up. We kept calling it our Bruce, like from Jaws. But yeah, like that was kind of off the top of my head.
I don't know if we want to talk about it here, Mark, but like the one that was the biggest, I'd say the biggest like challenge maybe was the treehouse. Not finding out out we weren't allowed. I mean, there was some issues with the location in terms of like what that treehouse was, availability of it. And finding out that we weren't allowed to actually shoot on the treehouse, so we definitely had to come up with ways in which to shoot it to where it worked for us, but it became like it was definitely a challenging thing to work around. Like, okay, we're no longer allowed to now go onto the treehouse, so now we have to figure out ways in which to light it and shoot it to where we are always just looking up at it and not actually being on the treehouse. So
Yeah,
that was
it was literally loading in day, and the guy's like, "Oh, by the way, you can't film there." I'm like, "Oh, cool!" Like that would have no.
that was like the reason we chose this house. Like
Yeah.
that was the
It looks so cool, and I wanted to do so much more with it. But we did what we could with it, and it still works for us. But yeah, I wish
Yeah.
we could do more.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, as filmmakers, what are some key things that you guys learned, working on this project that you're able to, use in the future on something else?
Yeah. For me, it was it's funny because for indie films, like you pull together your tribe and you try to you sadly have to cut corners in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the budget, or you don't have as many people that are down to play for free. um, but I was after this film, I'm like, next film, like no matter what, like we skimped on a script supervisor and a location manager. We're like, oh, me and Chris Retz, our producer, we could kind of handle that. And it was stressful as hell for us because script supervising wise, throughout the film, if you watch it, there's a bunch of power on, power off scenes. And day two, I was getting so frustrated. I'm like, is the power on or off in this?
that was so hard. You think you could flow with it, but you're like, yeah,
Shooting
it's
out of port.
incredible when you shoot so out of sequence. You're
Yeah.
just like constantly like re-referencing the script. And we had one instance, right, Mark? It was just only once that we
Fun.
had it wrong.
Yeah.
And we shot the scene with lights on, and it was supposed to be lights off. And our amazing colorist, Pat Fitzgerald, he colored it to make it look like the lights were off, and it works. And it's one shot in the movie. I'm just like blown away. He like nailed it. Like, yep, that's perfect. So our colorist saved our lack of script continuity, our lack of script supervisor.
I think we still did pretty good considering. Yeah, that was our one flub, and like you said, shooting out of order, and like I think we did pretty damn good without a script super. But definitely get a script supervisor. There's so
yes,
we could focus on what we're doing, directing and cinematography. Just a location manager that could deal with the tough guy that didn't want us to film in the treehouse and stuff. But like we had to kind of deal with the drama of all that. So stuff like
having to deal with those things it's just an added stress. These two jobs that are so essential, and you're now having to deal with all these things. It's like it's taking you away from being creative. Now you have to deal with these logistical things that it just makes it really tricky to be creative on the spot.
It takes your energy away. So
yeah,
definitely that's what I learned.
Looking at it from my end, the film came out great. You wouldn't expect anything going wrong or all this stuff other happening, but just congratulations on it, and I can't wait for everybody else to check it out. Can you guys tell the listeners where they can find you on social media, and feel free to plug any upcoming project?
Well, I'm on Instagram, Mark Edward 45. Check us out, and then also the Calling Witch page on Instagram. It's the Calling Witch _film. You can follow us up. We've been releasing behind the scenes stuff every week, so it's been cool to get the cast and crew highlighted and talk about what they've done on the film. And the film's streaming on Amazon Prime, Fandango, DirecTV right now. Our next project is called Sunburst. We're hoping to get that shot this summer. It's about a dying teenager that gets hired at a dying movie theater, to create like social media videos to help kind of save it.
Nice.
That's kind of relevant in today's times of the cinema's going away. So it's a good coming of age drama. So we can't wait to do that. We're gonna nerd out with all the film odes and all that stuff. That's my plug.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm not on a lot of social media, Brandon, but yeah, I am on Instagram at THRose. I'm also cannot wait to work on the next film where we've been like talking about it for years now. It's been in the works for a while now. We've got it all ready to go, so can't wait for that to come. And we're hoping that a lot of people discover Calling Witch. We're very proud of it.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I'm definitely looking forward to that next film, and I'm definitely looking forward to the book. Guys, thank you so much for coming on, and for everybody listening, make sure you check out The Calling Witch. It's available now on VOD, all streaming platforms. Definitely check it out. You'll definitely love, the twists and turns that's going to happen. So definitely look forward to it. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, take it easy.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Game over.